Okay, I think we're live.
Such excitement.
Always.
Yay, we're live.
Second night in a row, too.
Incredible.
It
We're
is
always
incredible.
streaming, though now because we're streaming a second night in a row, we don't have anything to talk about.
We don't, we did all our model complaining about last evening. Like, what's going to happen now? Yeah, last evening we talked all about Nova Open and all the previews and that sort of thing. So, yeah, that obvious thing that we could potentially do just isn't here now.
And Adam, who has all the cameras to like record stuff, he doesn't have the Space Marine Heroes that we purchased to unbox.
Yeah, so I can't unbox them.
Yeah, they're here. The box is here, but
You're cutting out and stuff. Something fierce, Eric. I assume
Am
there's
I?
just nothing that can be done. Yeah.
I assume not. I assume not. I hear you okay, but
We can hear you okay. It's a little stuttery and your image, is always frozen.
Okay. Well, I feel it's kind of always terrible, but maybe not this terrible.
This is worse than I think it normally is.
Comcast is not good for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that.
Like the speeds I get are never what I pay for.
Mm-hmm.
But I think maybe a little bit it's due to my building. The wiring's terrible.
That's not all that's terrible in your building, Eric.
That's true. That is true. Maybe it'll get better eventually.
That would be nice if it did, but
probably not.
Yeah, it seems unlikely.
Yeah, no, it does.
So I guess we can start out the stream with our hobby happenings or hobby hoedown.
No, this is the hobby hoedown.
Yeah,
hobby hoedown.
Since we're not recording a podcast, it's gonna be
that happened last
pathetic.
night. Which, if you want to listen to it, you can. It should be on the YouTube or the Twitch channel. Although I spent a bunch of this evening editing it together, so that soon, maybe sometime later this week, it will actually go up on like the actual kind of official podcast. So you can also just wait for that.
Yeah. Most of my time, at least right now, has been spent working on this Death Guard Space Marine, as I've sort of mentioned in some of the other streams. It's just another time where I'm kind of exploring converting a primary Space Marine into like a Mark III Iron Armor 1. And recently I've been working with his left arm. Previously, I didn't really know what I was going to do with that. And now I think I'm just gonna... He's not going to be holding anything. Like, I feel if I wanted to be all cheeky and funny, I'd have him holding like a stupid stick bomb or like a rocket or something, like they were often prone to do when they're models.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to do that.
Yeah, because that shit's stupid.
Yes, it is.
But he's coming along pretty well. Like, I still have a lot of sculpting that I need to do, but I think a lot of the models done. I also have to give him some extra like equipment and stuff. Like, maybe I'll give him like some grenades. He probably needs
You could inlay a plague bearer head into his chest.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah, he probably needs a plague knife in a sheath. Obviously not one of the plague knives that are on the newer Death Guard models because they're so big. They're more like swords. Holy shit, they're huge.
Well, he should
Um,
probably have lots of tentacles. That was just a really important element of most of the Nurgle stuff.
Hey Greg, I'm glad you're on chat saying stuff.
Yeah, I'm saying stuff on the chat via
That's
YouTube.
cool. So I don't know. We can probably, since we don't have anything like that we plan to talk about. Maybe we'll use this time to like experiment with like the workstation camera and stuff that I have. Maybe I can show some of the stuff that I'm working on. It's probably gonna be a little hard to see some of the stuff, but oh boy. So how bad does that look? Can you actually see the Marine or no? Do I need to?
Pretty small.
Okay. This might go really poorly, but I'm gonna try and.
We can see your nice work desk, though.
What can you see?
Your nice work desk. So much stuff's on there.
Yeah, all the stuff.
Where's the golden demon?
It's back there. There it is.
So cool.
So cool. Yeah.
I'm gonna go here. Maybe my internet is so poor that when I talk, it shows your face, but it doesn't makes it can't.
We can't even hear you,
Yeah,
Eric.
I heard none of that shit.
It did break up.
It
Yeah.
broke up so strongly that like I heard that you were talking, but that was it.
I'm gonna try to deal
I
with
mean,
this.
we realized he didn't have anything to say, but
I wonder if. Oh shit! I need that light.
that looks pretty good, Adam.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the Death Guard that I'm working on. One thing that'll probably be a little hard, since the Milliput's yellow, it doesn't.
You don't see the definition between
Yeah, because of all the lighting,
yeah.
it's hard.
We'll just take out some ink from your painting table and put it on.
Here I have some white ink. That's probably not gonna do it.
Probably not.
But so I was talking about the GW Plague knives and how they're huge. So here we go. Here one of them is. Look at that. Like, it's almost like Cloud's Buster sword, and it's not, but it's
Cloud
huge.
Buster sword would be
It would be huge.
way bigger. To an absurd degree.
And so, okay, so now in some of the more recent episodes, we've sort of been talking about the scale of the different models and everything, and how I feel most of Games Workshop models, the newer ones, are essentially almost all the same size. So if we look at one of the plastic unmade models, if you compare that unmade model to this Primaris Space Marine, you'll notice they're actually remarkably consistent in size. It's just the unmade itself he's a little more slight. He doesn't, but like if you line up that leg with the armor, like it would actually fit in there really well. And then the armor itself would be pretty bulky.
Hey, Hot Dice Miniatures is here.
Oh shit.
Hi, Hot Dice Miniatures.
Diffuse the light with a white shirt or something. That is actually a good idea.
White shirt. We all our shirts are band t-shirts, and they're all black. That's not quite
wait.
true. I have like probably 100 t-shirts, and almost all of them are
What
black.
about this?
I have a white natural all t-shirt.
Oh, I have that too.
Nice to say though, Hot Dice Miniatures. It's I guess maybe a slightly different stream in the sense that we're probably not going to be. I mean, I'm sure we will, like about scale and things of that nature, but perhaps not as much as normal. I don't know. I plugged in my Ethernet cable rather than using Wi-Fi. Is it any better, or is it still just as abysmal?
It might be slightly better, Eric.
You can at least hear me talk, though.
It's still broken up, but
Yeah, all right. So Comcast's terrible.
yeah, it's bad. Okay, but as I was saying, yeah, the unmade models are surprisingly similar in size to the Primaris Space Marines. It's probably not so. I probably
Also-
need to move the camera a little closer because it focuses on like all the stuff on the side of the screen.
He suggests it's better, though.
Oh, I think that's just in terms of the lighting because of the white background. Okay. So that's about the same size. So the Primaris Space Marines are the same size as the unmade. And then if we go and look at like a Genestealer Cultist, I mean, they're actually in many regards about the same size as well. So, I mean, maybe slightly smaller. I think they are slightly smaller, but in some regards, that's just because like their proportions are like so heroic. But so it sort of just comes down to it. I feel most of all of the GW models they've been releasing now are kind of all the same size in a way that isn't good. But then I guess if you go back to like a regular Space Marine, that's where it really gets laughable because they're so tiny, and most of that just has to do with the fact that they don't actually have a torso, or their torso is ridiculously short. So, and I mean, maybe in some regards, like it's been a while since Games Workshop has really shown a lot of images of their plastic Space Marines, and some of that is just because they want to show their new and great models. But boy,
They're
they
phasing
look
them
wrong.
out. They're phasing out the old Marines. Pretty soon they won't be the old Marines. The Primaris Marines will be the regular Marines.
But
That
see,
would be nice.
yeah, that would be great. But if you compare like one of the normal Marines to a Genestealer Cultist, like they're roughly the same size, at least in terms of height. It's just if the Genestealer Cultist was trying to get in this armor, they wouldn't fit. They really wouldn't fit. Whereas in the Primaris, which actually I have a
Would they want to fit though?
yeah. The Primaris is a little better. I think they're slightly different in size, but not by a whole lot. So I guess, and then like, I don't have that new plastic Sister of Battle, but I would imagine they're probably taller than the Genestealer Cultists, and then by that same token as essentially the same size as the Primaris Space Marine. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. And if we look at, I haven't assembled any of these yet, but the new plastic Enforcer models, they're cool and all, but oh my goodness, like, people joked about the notion of using them as Space Marine scouts primarily because of their weird like intercessor like helmets. But like they're almost perfect because they literally are the same size as a Primaris Space Marine.
Yes, wasn't a joke.
Yeah, it's not a joke. So what you should probably do. I guess maybe what is different is, yeah, it's gonna be hard to see this, but the head sizes, they are different. The Enforcer head size is slightly smaller than like a Primaris head. So, and maybe that's what you'd want because it's supposed to be a scout or something. I don't know.
Well, do you think the Enforcer models will be useful?
For the most part, I think they slot pretty well in with a lot of the other Games Workshop models. Like if you look at one of the Imperial Guard Scion models, like they're pretty similar in size, and like a bunch of people have already like made some pretty nice conversions, like intermixing parts from the Scions um, and these enforcers, and they look
Lord Sylvania.
Yeah, and they look pretty good. So I don't know. I think they'll come up and they'll be used like all over the place.
That's an old model you have there, Adam.
This one, the Scion.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
When did you make him on the blog? Like,
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it, but yeah, it's been a while. So actually, let's compare him to a Primaris.
April 13th, 2014 is when we had a post about that model.
So one thing that is interesting on this, like Iron Armor Primaris Space Marine that I'm working on, I seated the head slightly higher than what the normal Primaris Marines are, and so like that makes him look slightly larger than
it does
what they normally would look like, and that I feel helps make like the Scions and some of the other human models actually look a little smaller than the Marines.
That's good. Man, looking back at this old post from 2014, we actually got comments back then. Remember those days when people commented on blogs?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, blogging is an interesting thing now, I'd say. Now that, in general, it's just a lot easier to look and like things on Instagram.
It sure is easier. I mean, I guess we still get comments and stuff, but it's mainly from just some a dedicated fan base that admittedly we appreciate a lot. But yeah, Instagram is just so much easier.
Okay, so let's take a look at if we compare the Primaris model to some of these new Warcry models. Like, it's a little hard to tell because I didn't snip them out, but in some regards, I feel they would actually make pretty, like, they're sized very well to the Primaris Space Marines. So, like, if
the Iron Golems,
yeah, if you wanted to, like, convert like a new Khorne the Betrayer model or something, like a lot of these like muscled arms and stuff, I think would actually work really well for something like that.
I'll commission you for $15.
Who you will, Greg?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want Khorne the Betrayer.
Make Khorne.
What would I do with what would you even do with that, Greg?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's right, nothing.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think, like, I know recently I've seen some people, like a lot of people have been trying to convert like Space Marine scouts and stuff out of like Goliaths and stuff like that. And while I think they work pretty well for that, the Goliath models are like significantly larger than Space Marines. So,
Well, Adam, I'm sure
Background
I don't
noise.
know how you've forgotten this background lore, but that's always been a part of the background since the 80s. That when they get all the organs implanted, they become like get really ripped and huge. But then after their time in the scouting company, they get smaller so they can fit in their power armor. Obviously, it's always been part of the lore.
I wish
Like-
that were true.
Like the bolters that auto aim, and the Space Marines through their helmets can look down the barrel. It's just so much cool lore.
Uh-huh.
Now, obviously that shit isn't true. Maybe the bolter stuff is. Who knows? If it is, it's dumb.
Yeah, holy shit. Just look at, like, if you compare, like, a Space Marine, like, they're so much smaller.
What's interesting though is that the iron golems are supposed to be like more normal human, and they haven't quite obtained the over the top ridiculousness of like fully initiated Khorne warriors or
Do
whatever.
they say that somewhere?
I'm pretty sure that's part of the lore.
Hmm.
That all these war bands are kind of like just starting out, not really, they aren't part of Archon or Archeon's armies and such and so forth.
Yeah, well, they're not internally consistent with their other with their other ranges. They're just not.
Yeah, well,
One thing that I was actually looking at, so like, if I again go back to this Primaris Space Marine and just like take, one of the muscled arms, like, I would really want to cut it off, but if you cut that off, like, I think it would actually work just about perfectly with the Primaris Space Marine. So like, as we were sort of joking about making Khorne, I think it would actually work pretty well.
yeah, that's interesting. I think you're right.
The weapons themselves, I think, are too big even for
Gore chosen.
even for the Primaris Marines.
Well,
and
Greg,
stuff,
you're
but-
in luck that the new expansion book that's going for pre-order this Saturday that adds a whole bunch of monsters. It also adds a bunch of the heroes, like the Gore chosen heroes, so you can use them in your war bands.
I was trying to think of the name of Karn's axe, and it's Gore Child.
Mhm.
I said Gore chosen. I was
Hmm.
wrong.
It's about the same thing though, so it's okay.
Does anyone remember Angron's other axe's name?
Oh, no,
I don't.
I don't.
Greg, you're a lore expert.
Yeah, I haven't read any of the lore, or like I read maybe 4 of their novels when I
That's
was
pretty good,
15,
Greg.
When I was 15.
Yeah.
There
Okay,
was
so
more novels back then.
That's what makes you such an expert.
so actually we've been talking a lot about scaling and stuff, and so I guess one of the things I didn't do is I didn't get out one of the newer Deloc models, and like, where do they stand with the Primaris Marines?
They stand tall.
They stand really tall. But I sort of think they're actually about, I would say, probably the same size as a Primaris Space Marine. It's just, if the Marine was actually standing up straight and not like crouching down a little, then they'd be pretty similar. So in that sense, I'd like to say it's sort of okay, but then again, it really isn't, because these are supposed to be like normal humans. But if you compare them to like a Gene Stealer cultist, like it's
Yeah,
not
well,
good.
no one cares about that. They just want to buy more Space Marines, Adam.
Yeah,
With
well.
all the new supplements coming out, which supplement do you think is going to come out next, guys? I'm sure you're excited.
Yeah, so like if you don't, if you don't think about like how how the Deloc model standing tall and straight, you compare it to one of these Gene Stealer cultists, like holy shit. Like they are remarkably different in size, probably by like roughly half an inch or something.
Yeah, it's intense. Is that your generic Gene Stealer cult model that you assembled purely for
Yeah,
reference purposes?
yes. And this is one of the ones that's sort of standing up straight.
Yeah, yeah. And the Deloc model is the first conversion corner model, right?
Yeah.
CC conversion corner.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, they really I wish they made the Deloc model smaller because they look pretty out of place, I feel, in most instances.
Yeah.
Well, and then it's even
I guess in
worse.
the context of Necromunda, though, it doesn't matter as much because the warband themselves will look consistent.
And so if you could compare one to like one of the Cadians, they probably differ by about an inch.
Outrageous. That is
Well, the
out.
Cadians have always been like the weediest, weakest, frail of humanity's defenders.
I mean, that's why Kenya was destroyed.
Yeah, they broke well before the planet did. That's what the lore says, right?
What? No.
Yeah, I mean, I do really like aspects of the Cadians, but they I feel really suffer from the heroic proportions. And the funny thing is, like, they almost they almost work comparing them to like the normal Space Marines, but
I
not
wonder if
really.
that. I wonder if some of the wonkiness of them was just Brian Nelson's response to the wonkiness of the
Yeah,
general.
I mean, I think they were sort of just trying to keep it in line with what.
Yeah, yeah. I
But I
don't know.
guess in general, I feel I'm happy that Games Workshop is doing a better job with proportioning their models and stuff. Um, because they end up looking a lot better. Like the new Sisters of Battle models look a lot better because of that. It's
Well, have you
just
ever? Do we have a copy of the new sister?
yes.
What's the bolter? Has it ever been opened?
I'll look for it just a minute.
Because I am pretty curious. Like, is the bolter smaller than? Because like that's one of the general things I'm kind of interested in seeing, kind of in the future when the sisters themselves are released in like a larger, broader form, or any of those things smaller. Hot Dice Miniatures, if you're still listening, is there anything you're working on at the moment? Models you're painting, game system you've been playing games and stuff in, that sort of thing?
I just got word that the battle mats that I ordered from you are on their way.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Sister of Battle is shorter than the Deloc models by a reasonable amount. Oh, That looks terrible. But
I think you're kind of off screen.
yeah. If we look, yeah, it's hard to tell. But so the Deluxe models are taller than the sisters. Do
Well,
I?
they're also wearing power armor too, so
Yeah. If we compare, oh boy. Oh God, no. If we compare the bolters, oh God, that looks awful. So this Forge World bolter that I have on this Marine is remarkably similar in size to the plastic Sister of Battle bolters. So that,
I feel those Forge World bolters were at least often thinner than
yeah.
but I don't know if the other dimensions were much different. Probably not.
I wonder, can I find? Do I have a plastic bolter somewhere? Probably do. I just have to find it.
The Reaver models basically have normal bolters, right?
Yeah,
Not
they
that
do.
you'd probably have those easily accessible, but I mean, based on that, they're clearly not. If they are a little bit smaller, they're not substantially smaller,
No, they're pretty similar.
which is a shame. But I mean, I guess it's not that surprising from like the pictures themselves. Like it was clear they were gigantic.
Hey guys, I think I want to go to bed.
Alrighty.
So, I mean, you can all keep talking, but I think I'm out.
All right. See you, Greg.
Yeah, have fun, everybody.
Nice chatting with you, Greg.
Always.
Okay, I got a bolter. Let's look a little closer. Oh God, no. Okay. So it's slightly smaller. They're slightly smaller. There. Yeah, so the sister battle bolters are a little smaller. They're not like wild. It's not wildly so.
Well, so then I mean, I guess that does mean they will be useful, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could probably use them on like a Space Marine.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And
or like a Primaris Space Marine.
Yeah, like if you. Yeah, I think if we compare it to like a Primaris Space Marine, like that looks. Looks pretty good. I think they're not quite as tall. Yeah, like the height of the weapon isn't quite as tall as well, so that I think that helps.
Yeah, it makes it look better.
So yeah, I don't know. I think they could work okay for Space Marines. For like the Sisters of Battle, I think they sort of miss the mark a little. Like they're too big. And they certainly, like if you look at the box and like the painted model, like it's a really big weapon. And like it's a lot larger than it's a lot larger than like the illustration that it was based off of.
Yeah, it's You did a good job, Darren Latham, but not with that bolter. I mean, I guess it was probably
I mean, at least it
they
was he
wanted.
designed a different one, and he did make it smaller than like a normal
Yeah, it's
bolter. But
true. It's true. Why did we even buy that model, Adam?
I don't know. We could do a conversion or something with it. I don't know. Why do we buy any of the stuff we have?
Yeah, it's true.
um,
It's true.
what I should probably actually do is just assemble this model as is and just use it as a comparison model. Because what's nice about this model is she is standing up straight rather
That's
than
true.
crouching down in some awkward pose. So I feel it's pretty.
That's a good idea. You could do that and somehow give her a smaller weapon, but then you'd have
Yeah,
to do
because
that.
like here, like if you have the Sister of Battle like standing right next to a Primaris Space Marine, they actually look pretty good. Like the scale looks about right.
I mean, they're tall, but like maybe that's just a thing that a lot of the sisters are just really tall
Yeah, I mean
women.
I think it looks about right. And but then again, if you compare like one of these Sisters of Battle to a Gene Stealer cultist, um, they're quite a bit taller, but some of that has the sisters quite a bit taller, but some of that has to do with the fact that their proportions are not nearly as say heroic as
Hmm.
what the Gene Stealer cultists are.
Yeah,
Like their heads are smaller, they're placed up, they're seated a little higher, their feet are smaller, so
yeah. Nah, but yeah, I feel it's a good thought. Just assembling her for a scale thing. Probably putting her on a more traditional base.
yeah, not while her base is nice. Um I don't think we really needed.
It makes it harder for comparison purposes, I feel.
Yes. Well, yeah, so actually, let's look at her face compared to like a Gene Stealer cultist. It's just much smaller.
Okay.
Yeah, so just in general, the new Sisters of Battle, um, they don't really have heroic proportions, and that I feel is good. Aside
Hmm.
from maybe their weapons.
Yeah, it'll
So
be
in
really
that sense, I
exciting.
feel they sort of, in some regards, they might look a little out of place next to some of the other 40K armies
Hmm.
because they don't really follow a lot of the conventions of a lot of those other forces.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be exciting to see more of the Sisters of Battle release. Hopefully, that it's pretty substantial. Like, because at the moment, so much of it's just like the very standard. Like, we knew they would get the normal troops and they would get more Seraphim, you know.
Yeah,
But the more like we see some of the other stuff, like will there be confessor models, preacher models, archiflagellants, some of that stuff. I feel will be exciting.
yeah, I agree. Okay, well, so maybe at one point I'll assemble this sister model to stand with my other reference models.
Yeah, nah, I mean that would be nice.
And then do a slight conversion to make her weapon not as dumb looking.
Hmm. That would also be good.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe we should. Think we can probably end the stream soon.
Yeah, I think you're right. We
Um,
talked a little bit, showed some stuff.
played around with the camera a little bit. It's not great, but it's, I think, a little better than it had been before.
Yeah, I don't know. Feel my internet connection has gotten a little bit better, but it's still really
You're talking, your voice comes through pretty well, but like
okay.
the image of you has like not changed for the past few minutes.
I wonder if that means my computer's gonna lock up soon.
Probably does.
No, I think it looks looking okay. But yeah, it's Comcast never good.
Never good. Yeah. Well, Eric, it was nice chatting with you, and thanks everyone for coming out and listening to us. And Hot Dice Miniatures, thanks for the
Yeah,
few
thanks for
comments and
thanks for
suggesting to use the white background. Like that helped a lot.
thanks for listening. We'll keep trying to stream. Hopefully, get better.
Yeah.
And yeah, appreciate everybody's support, encouragement, and suggestions, that sort of thing. It all helps, and yeah, we just appreciate it all. I suppose with that, yeah, thanks for listening. Follow us on the blog, Instagram, all that stuff.
Keep on enjoying the hobby.
Yep. Talk to you later, everybody.
Over and out.